astrological forecast, October 2024. My name's Demian Allan, and this is my channel. And please become a subscriber to the channel and like the video. It all helps to spread the word of astrology. Okay, October, what can we expect? So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an overview, and then I'm going to do the 12 zodiac signs, and they will cover whether you're ascendant as well as your sun sign. So if you know your ascendant, brilliant. And if you know your sun sign, of course, brilliant. So I will do that, cover both. So let's kick off by going into the overview of October 2024. I can't believe we're actually in October. It's gone so quickly. And we kick off with an astrological bang. I think we can say that. On the 2nd, we have a solar eclipse straight away, which is effectively, it's a new moon. It's in Libra. It's at 10 degrees. UK time is about 7:45 in the evening, 1945. 10 degrees in Libra, really strong, powerful. Remember, like, the sun is in its fall in Libra. It's not particularly strong. It's in the west part of the natural zodiac. It's set in, not particularly strong, but if you've got planets at the cardinal points, or the cardinal signs, I should say, Aries, Libra, Cancer and Capricorn, around about planets at 9, 10, 11 degrees, then you're going to be affected by this. Solar eclipses, if they hit particular sensitive degrees in your chart, then they can last for about 6 months to 9 months. And solar eclipses are traditionally known as a new start, something emerging, something beginning. And that certainly gets things kicks October into gear in terms of how the month is going to pan out. And it's interesting because, Libra is the diplomatic sign, so you'd expect diplomacy, harmony coming in, maybe legal matters as well, being particularly strong around that time. On the 9th, Jupiter goes retrograde in Gemini for the first time since it's been in Gemini, and will be retrograde for the rest of the year. And so if you're in a Jupiter-affected year, then obviously you're going to be affected by that. Things might just begin to slow down during that time. And certainly if you have a lot of Gemini in your chart, your moon, sun, or ascendant, then things might just sort of slow down and become a little bit easier than they have been, which has been quite chaotic, that energy. On the 13th, we have Mercury goes into Scorpio, which is always an interesting combination about delving deep, get into the real crux of the matter, what's really going on. And then on the 17th, we got a full moon, a super moon, I might add, at 24 degrees in Aries. And on that day, Venus also will enter into Sagittarius. So it's a very, very strong day, the 17th, for a lot going on. In the build-up, that would be the 16th, and the aftermath, that would be the 18th. Very, very strong. 24 degrees in Aries. This is not what I would say hitting any other planets particularly. So it's not one of those where we have to really be careful or really aware, apart from the fact that, if you're Aries and if you're Libra, those two signs of zodiac are being hit by the eclipse energy this month. So they are being affected quite a bit. But apart from that, it's okay. The sun enters Scorpio on the 22nd. That's going on. So that's when we come into the real kind of autumnal death and rebirth kind of period, metaphorically speaking, of course, that we enter into. That really kind of shifts the energy internal and how we feel about where we're going in life generally. And that's kind of like the major kind of pointers here. October's kind of a little bit of a quieter month than September, and definitely quieter than August and July, apart from the eclipse energy. But let's look at it from each zodiac sign now. Now, when I do this, you can do this for your ascendant as well as your sun sign. So it covers both. And in a way, it can cover your moon sign as well. So this is great also for looking at partners or children, or, you know, what's going to happen to your boss or stuff like that. It's really kind of good for covering that. So let's start off with where we should start off with, which is Aries. And what can Aries expect? Okay, so Aries are ruled by Mars, and Mars is in Cancer. And it will go retrograde later on in the year. So it stays in between Cancer and Leo for some time. This is the fourth house, which is the energy of the home environment. So a lot of your directness, a lot of your assertiveness and decisions need to be made within the home environment during this particular period. So a lot of energy, and it has been a fact since the beginning of September, since around about the 4th or the 5th of September, that has been the case, that a lot of your energy has been directed towards the home. The home is in where you live, but also to do with family issues, to do with how you feel internally, where you feel secure. And that could be quite challenging, because Aries is a sign that likes to essentially go out there and go forth and conquer. Whereas the period at the moment is you're dealing with other people's stuff, anxieties, neuroses, insecurities, and you're not able to move through life quite the same pace that you would normally like to. And I think that's sort of part of the issue. The solar eclipse on the 2nd is in your 7th house, which is to do with relationships here. So it could be kind of like a sense of a new relationship, or if you're already in a relationship, it could be the sense that you're starting again, beginning again, that whole process. So that's quite exciting. And obviously with eclipses, it brings stuff up to the surface that needs to be brought up to the surface. You've also got Mercury in the first half of the month in the 7th house, so communication with partners, business, romantic partners, is going to be really, really important during this particular period. And it's really worth keeping your patience with that a lot, because you've got Venus in your 8th house for the first 3 weeks of the year. So again, that's going to bring out quite a lot of dealing with other people's resources, other people's stuff, or your partner's financial aspect. Okay, let's go on to Taurus, shall we? Okay, well, Taurians, Uranus, of course, which has been in your own zodiac sign since 2018, is still there, but it's at the tail end, but it's going retrograde. So it's really kind of, it's around about, 26 degrees in Taurus. So again, if you've got planets at 26 degrees, 25 degrees in Taurus, whether your ascendant degree is there, whether your sun is there, or even your moon in Taurus, then everything's gone a bit crazy. Everything's gone a bit unpredictable. Everything's disrupted at the moment, and it's kind of high energy for you. But it's a retrograde period, so you're sort of reflecting on what's happened over the last couple of months quite a bit. Your ruler, Venus, is in your 7th house, which is to do with the relationship side of your life. So that's quite nice, actually. Even though Venus is a bit uncomfortable in Scorpio, it's in his 7th house, so it means that it can operate. And it also means that you can listen to partners' needs much more and respond in a way that's been different from how you've done before, perhaps a bit more empathy, a little bit more understanding, a little bit more harmony in your kind of relationship zone. From the 9th, Jupiter goes retrograde in your 2nd house, the financial aspect. So if you've been sort of thinking about, putting financial aspects in place, suddenly it might be that things have to be looked at again to see if they're going to work, or things might slow down a little bit. It's basically get on with the practical for you at this particular point. Okay, let's go to Gemini. So Gemini's, the first thing is Jupiter is from the 9th going retrograde in your own sign, the Zodiac. A lot of Geminis that I've spoken to since late May of this year has been a bit of a crazy period, especially if you're born in the first 10 degrees of Gemini. It's been a bit crazy. It's been many opportunities. Some of those opportunities have been great. Some of them have been full of kind of hot air. But, there is expansion. There is things that are kind of happening in your life. This is a part of a 12-year cycle. Now it's going retrograde. So if you look from the period of late May, everything's happened up until the 9th of October, you're going through a period of review and reflect on that and how that's going to actually kind of manifest and how that's going to be practical and how it can come to use. When Jupiter goes retrograde, it doesn't really kind of bode really kind of well. Jupiter doesn't really like to go retrograde. It's a big planet, big personality in a way, likes to do things at pace, and then suddenly it can't. So it's kind of like, okay, I can't do this. So it gets a bit muddy. And there may be things that come back in, or old opportunities that come back in, you know, from the past kind of 3 months. Your ruler, Mercury, starts off in Libra, and then around about the 14th, it changes into Scorpio. It loves to be in Libra. Scorpio, it's okay. It's okay. You know, it's that that aspect of 6th house kind of energy, which is service to others, looking at maybe health regimes or health matters a little bit during that second half of October. Okay, Cancer. Cancer, of course, ruled by the moon. So every time we have full moons, eclipses, that kind of energy, then we have to take that into account. Of course, we've got a solar eclipse in Libra. That solar eclipse is really kind of important because it falls in the 4th house, which is the placement of the home environment, the family, the ancestral lineage, where we feel comfortable in life, the hidden aspects of ourselves. We can draw a lot of energy, a lot of strength and purpose during this eclipse for you Cancerians that maybe you've needed. Pluto has gone back into your opposite sign of Capricorn, and those Cancerians born towards the end of the sun in Cancer, or people who have a sun ascendant at the end of the degrees, particularly around about 28, 29 degrees of Cancer, have been deeply affected by this Pluto stepping back in. And so this solar eclipse really serves as a very good reminder of how strong you are and your ability to gain that emotional strength to see yourself through those difficult times. It's very, very good time for manifestation, for sending out your wishes to the universe, for doing spiritual practices, for purifying, for letting go. It's very good, clearing the clutter, whether it be physical or emotional, or even spiritual. Okay, Leo. So Leo, the first thing is that, you know, we've had Pluto go back into Capricorn, which means it's out of your 7th house, which means that you're getting a little bit of a rest from Pluto's energy that you've really kind of been had for most of this year, particularly if you've got early degrees Aquarius and Leo in your chart. Now, I think for Leos, you know, the sun goes between Libra and Scorpio. So the sun is the ruler for Leos. And, you know, that's kind of important because it's going from the 3rd to the 4th house. So the 3rd house is the house of communication, and then the 4th house is the house of placement of home and stuff like that. So it's really kind of important that you communicate your needs effectively to the ones that are close to you. That'll be family members or very, very close friends, and that you make sure that your needs are met by those people because you have to explain yourself in a better way than you've done. And that being really kind of important for Leos. Okay, Virgos. Virgos, of course, ruled by Mercury. A lot of energy in the first 2 weeks of the month are going to be directed to the financial aspect, how you make your money, your relationship with money, your self-value of yourself, and how important that is. Being incredibly kind of important to you. You know, you've also got that kind of energy of Mars in your 11th house, which is about friendships and stuff like that. Try not to allow yourself to get caught into arguments with friends to such a degree that you all your energy is going towards them. It's really kind of not worth it during this particular period. Also, that solar eclipse on the 2nd falls in your 2nd house, which is that, again, the house reaffirms that whole thing about the financial element. Are you about to start a new business? Are you about to launch something? This is an excellent time for that. It really, really is. So just to look out for that. Very, very nice energy there. Librans, well, listen, first of all, you've got the solar eclipse in your own sign. So you've also got Mercury in the first 2 weeks in your own sign. So there's a lot going on for Librans, and the sun is on your sign as well. So you can really get a huge amount from this particular period. And I just feel this is something very dynamic about this period for you, particularly with the solar eclipse. And it, you know, when astrologers or people like me go, oh, it's a new start, this really is kind of a new start. This is a chance for you to define, well, who you want to be, where you want to go, to put out your intentions and be very clear in that, because this is a fabulous time. You've also can expect, you've got the full moon that happens as well in the third week. That's going to hit your seventh house, which is the idea of relationships in general. So just be kind of a bit aware of that. That energy might be quite high octave at that time. That's on the 17th of October. Might be high octave in terms of relationships or how others view you and how you view them. So just be kind of very aware, of that particular period. Scorpios, listen, your traditional ruler is Mars. Your modern ruler is Pluto. Pluto does start to go direct again on the 13th. So it's moving in Capricorn. So it's moving forward again. Your traditional ruler is Mars, which is in Cancer. Now, it's interesting because that's a lot to do with the ninth house and philosophy and learning and higher learning, how that kind of manifests. So there's an awful lot going on there in terms of that kind of energy. And this is a very much an outward month for Scorpios. And Scorpios don't like to be a sign that as a zodiac that goes outward and suddenly it will need to and be very, very bold about it. When in doubt, be bold for Scorpios this month. Sagittarius, your ruler Jupiter from the 9th goes retrograde in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. Time to take stock, time to step back, time to gain a different perspective or someone else's perspective that's close to you, and to not get impatient with that, because if you do, you're going to find it very, very difficult to move forward from that. Jupiter is going to be retrograde for a long period of time to the end of the year. So we have to look at that kind of energy of stepping back, reflecting, and everything that you've put in place, particularly with other people and relationships since late May, this is the product of it. This is how it's going to move forward, whether it's going to be practical or move forward in the right pace. Okay, Capricorns, ruled by Saturn. Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. You've got the solar eclipse energy. Now that's hitting your 10th house, which is to do with your career. Capricorns love it. With anything to do with career, they absolutely love. So you've got that kind of energy kind of pushing through. I would say that you start to do with career or choices or promotions, stuff that's going to come in is going to be very, very strong around you. Now, I also am very aware, because Saturn is going retrograde, is in the 3rd house, you've got to be very clear about your boundaries and how you communicate with others and how you put your ideas across. It might be a little bit too strong for other people, and they will tell you during this particular period. So you've got to be very, very careful of that. Okay, Aquarius. Okay, Aquarians. Your modern ruler, Uranus, is going backwards. Your traditional ruler, Saturn, is also going backwards. So this is a quieter month for the Aquarians. Bit of a quieter month. Unless you've got your sun around about 26, 25 degrees, or your ascendant degree, 25, 26, 27 degrees, then it's a bit manic because of the Uranus factor retrograding, squaring your sun or your ascendant degree. Again, if you've got the moon around about that 25, 26, 27, it's going to be a little bit hectic emotionally. But for the majority of Aquarians, it's a little bit of a take a step back. Jupiter in the 5th house, taking a retrograde. Okay, you can slow down, you can take stock, you don't have to party or go out there. Saturn is still retrograde in your 2nd house, so the financial element is still being worked on, still being looked at, still being pontificated on, and will remain so. Pisces, okay, Pisces. So the main thing I'd say was that you've got Jupiter, your traditional ruler, go retrograde in your 10th house, which is the house of your career. So things will need to be in place before the 9th of October. And from then on, it's like the fruits of your labor, whether they come to pass or not. And that's how solid you put those career aspirations and practical things in place. Your modern ruler, Neptune, is retrograde. That's retrograde about 28, 27, 26 degrees. If you've got a sun around that mark, then you're affected a lot by Pluto on a retrograde. Or if you've got the ascendant in Pisces at around about 25, 26, 27 degrees, you're going to be affected. It's all a bit woolly. It's all a bit, I don't know, oversensitive. Things not clear in your mind. Where am I going? What direction? But Saturn is the retrograde in your own sign, remains, and that's holding you to account to make some decisions. But with Neptune, sometimes it could be like, I made a decision and the next day you change it. Watch out for that. Saturn wants you to look at the long term rather than the short term. Okay, so that is the 12 signs of Zodiac. I think October is a little bit of a quieter month. I really do. I think apart from the solar eclipse, maybe that, that's 17th, the full moon, but I'm not expecting that much. Pluto moving direct for the last time in Capricorn is a biggie as well in the middle of the month. But I think it's a quieter month for us generally. And that builds up nicely to November, where it begins to change again for us. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please become a subscriber, like the video. I got some more fantastic videos coming in for you on tarot and some looking at other charts and subject matters I think will be quite fascinating. So keep watching, but thank you for watching this video and I'll see you all very soon.